My fellow Zelda fans, we presidents come before you today to discuss a matter of great importance. As I'm sure you're aware, Nintendo recently released The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and we...
Jesus, Barack, come on, man, loosen up.
Yeah, seriously, Jesus, what's with all the formality? Is Michelle hovering over you or something?
Sorry, boys. So yeah, we're here to discuss the very similar and yet very different Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. We're going to put them head to head and ultimately decide on which we think is better. It's all in good fun, of course, so don't take it too seriously.
Well, listen, nobody loves a good Zelda more than I do. Nobody. But I got to tell you, Breath of the Wild, the game that made Zelda great again, is still the better game. While Tears of the Kingdom adds a whole lot to the world, it's just not as great on its own merits as Breath of the Wild.
Come on, you kidding me? Beers of, the Kingdom is,
For fuck's sake, please take your meds before we go any further. Didn't Jill cook you up some mushrooms earlier to jog your senile old brain?
Much better. Anyway, Tears of the Kingdom may reuse the same map, but it's such a drastic evolution and expansion in every other area that it makes Breath of the Wild look like a prototype. It just executes everything so well and offers such a crazy amount of content, new and revised, that it's a clear objective improvement from start to finish.
And I'm going to stay neutral, so I'll be acting as moderator and judge. Let me be clear. This will be split up into different parts, each covering different topics. With that established, let's skydive right into part one, which we've already made a bit of a start on here, the world.
Okay, well, let me start by reiterating that Tears of the Kingdom is literally just Breath of the Wild, but improved in every way. It's the exact same world, but with a ridiculous amount of improvements and new stuff added. In what world is Tears of the Kingdom even slightly disappointing?
Look, I don't think anybody objects to reusing the engine or Breath of the Wild's resources.
Right.
But after waiting years of your life for a new mainline Zelda and probably another 5 to 7 for the next one, wouldn't you prefer to have a new world to explore?
What about the Sky Islands and depths?
What about them?
The remixed Hyrule only makes up a third of the map in this game.
Hyrule is still very much the bulk of the game. The Sky Islands are just not what I hoped they'd be, just like how you aren't what your voters hoped you'd be.
Fuck you.
Okay, can we get back on topic, please? Donald, how did the Sky Islands disappoint you?
Well, you're off to a fantastic start with the Great Sky Island. Fantastic. It's so huge and dense, and those autumn colors, man. So many beautiful bright oranges and yellows.
Reminds me a lot of you, actually, Don.
I'll take that as a compliment. But anyway, it's a shame that the tutorial area is by far the best that the Sky portion of the game has to offer. The majority of the Sky Islands are just much smaller little scatterings, and the slightly larger ones are essentially just shrine puzzles, but dotted around up in the air. They're visually lush, yes, but they don't feel like natural extensions of the world or another world up in the sky to explore.
Have you ever seen a sight better than that? But who put that there?
What about dungeons? Come on, man. The Wind Temple and the series of Sky Islands leading up to it is something else. The music building up as you get higher and the air getting colder and thinner as you approach the eye of this mysterious storm. Great stuff, man. What amazing atmosphere.
No argument for me there. That was fantastic. But in terms of the open world and exploration, the Sky Islands really fell short for me, especially after getting my hopes up with the starting area. What can I say?
That's understandable. I guess that actually sounds like how I felt about Skyward Sword. Skyloft and that first flight on your loft wing had me hyped to see what else the vast skies had to offer, only to find a bunch of much smaller islands, usually with nothing but maybe a chest or two.
Exactly. The Sky Islands were that for me, albeit on a much larger scale.
All the same, I think the fact that the Sky Islands are there at all is a point over Breath of the Wild. There's simply a lot more to do and a lot more to explore, even if they don't quite reach the scale of the Great Sky Island again.
Fair enough, but let me just say one more time that the Great Plateau was only a taste of what Breath of the Wild had to offer. Once you've seen the Great Sky Island, though, you've pretty much seen all of the Sky Islands.
So what do we think about the depths? Those madmen based this game's marketing entirely on the skies, then snuck a whole-ass underworld in there without marketing it at all. It made for a fantastic surprise.
Boring.
Oh, fuck off.
Again, my hopes were high when I first dove down a chasm and discovered this whole underworld map. But it's just not that interesting unless you need to stock up on Zonite or pose or tackle a certain side quest that I won't spoil. There's no reason to explore down there at all. It's so tedious too. Shoot bright bloom seed, go forward. Shoot bright bloom seed, keep moving, shoot bright bloom seed. Maybe you'll find another light route or a mine that's identical to all the other fucking mines down there. It's just a resource gathering area. It's not immersive or fun to explore. It's so dark and fucking empty, it's like walking around Biden's mine.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. You're missing the point entirely, man. I enjoyed gradually lighting up this massive pitch-black underworld. Every seed that landed and lit up more of the world was so satisfying and felt like progress.
Something I've enjoyed so far is the challenge aspect of the enemies in the depths, where if they hit you, you lose hearts until you can get to a light route, return to the surface, or eat some gloom-resistant food. It really adds to the stakes in combat and makes you pay attention in a fight and makes you want to prepare if you're going down there for a longer time.
Yeah.
Look, I admit the underworld makes for some great combat challenge, and if you ask me, it's actually more of an attraction than the fucking Sky Islands they marketed the game with, but I still maintain it doesn't live up to its potential. Besides a few key areas, it all looks the damn same, as opposed to Hyrule, which has distinct regions with their own look and feel. You can thank Breath of the Wild for those, by the way.
Sure, it might not be as diverse as the overworld, but the dank atmosphere and the unique purples and blues of the flora and fauna offer a really cool contrast to the big sunny skies of the world above.
Yet you still spend more time on Breath of the Wild's remixed map than you do in the skies or depths. If it were me, I'd have done something similar to Red Dead Redemption 2.
Come on, man. You'd have gave Link a revolver and have him call everyone boy?
Obviously not, dumbass.
You, sir, are a fish.
What I meant was I'd have had the bulk of the story take place in a larger new world in the Sky Islands with a lot more like the Great Island. Link would be unable to return to the surface until you reach a certain point in the story where the world from the previous game opens up. As it is, though, the Sky Islands and depths are underwhelming and underused. Just like Skyward Sword, the skies should have been so much more. Sad.
Okay, well, I think that'll wrap it up for World. Donald, I see what you're saying about how 6 years is a long time out of your life to wait between games.
Some huge games have been built completely from scratch in that time, including Breath of the Wild.
And given that a new world, or at least more focus on the new, probably would have been better. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. But as it is, Tears of the Kingdom's world is just Breath of the Wilds, but with so much more to explore, and of course the depths and sky, even if you could argue that they're maybe a little underutilized. For me, this first point is an easy one to Tears of the Kingdom.
Fair enough, it's a great world, but just remember that it owes its greatness to Breath of the Wild. I'm still disappointed to lose the chance to recreate that wondrous experience Breath of the Wild first gave us as we discovered and got lost in an entirely new world. It was absolutely magical, man. Playing Tears of the Kingdom for the first time has just made me miss that magic. What can I say?
Understandable, Donald. Maybe next game, man. But for now, prepare to take a lot more L's. It's going to be the 2020 election all over again.
Fuck you.
Okay, so something that returns from Breath of the Wild is, of course, shrines. There are a ton in each game, and they're a huge core part of the gameplay. They're challenges where the game's mechanics get to shine. They're how you unlock fast travel points, and they're how you level up Link to get him ready for that ever-approaching final battle.
Well, the shrines in Tears of the Kingdom are clearly superior. The aesthetic is chill as fuck. The minimal, clean white of the environments with the game's signature cyan color they use for the Zonai, it's just minty fresh. There's just something about that super chill music and dreamy atmosphere, man. It actually kind of reminds me of some of the stuff in Splatoon 2's Octo expansion.
I don't play games about little kids running around squirting each other, Joe. That's your kind of thing. Compared to the Sheikah shrines, they just feel more lifeless and empty than your head. In fact, I'm impressed you can fucking stay awake for them.
Kiss my ass flaps.
You, Joe, what the fuck?
They look and feel like if the Sheikah shrines were still under fucking construction.
Still more constructed than your border wall, motherfucker.
Guys, come on. Donald, I think you're being very harsh on the Zonai shrines. They do have a really cool, clean vibe.
Well, unlike the boring Zonai shrines with their big blank white walls and their sleepy-ass ambient music, the Sheikah shrines have a really distinct look, thanks to the really unique and inspired design of Sheikah technology. They're a perfect fusion of ancient and futuristic all around, so much more inspired and so much more iconic.
Anyway, we've spoken enough about the aesthetic and feel of the shrines. What about the actual content?
Well, let me start by asking why the fuck there are so many combat tutorials in tiers. It's like, I'm 50 shrines in and I've beaten 3 dungeons. Why have I stumbled across a tutorial that, no joke, is teaching me to aim for the fucking head when I use a bow?
Do I look stupid to you? Are you saying I'm stupid?
Okay, granted, those are dumb, but there are only a handful of them in the whole game, Donald.
I mean, the rest of the shrines are nothing too great either.
How the fuck's that?
I mean, they're not bad or anything, but, well, you have so many crazy building options in the main world. As a result, I found a lot of the shrines with their restricted puzzle-specific materials just feel like simpler, bite-sized tutorials in comparison. I don't remember many challenging ones that made me really think. I enjoyed the combat challenges where you're stripped of all your equipment, but most of the shrines were just pretty unmemorable. I just played Tears of the Kingdom, yet I can still remember more shrines from Breath of the Wild.
Man, they focused on showcasing the creation mechanics, but they did so in interesting and creative ways that in turn allowed you to be creative.
Please. You call it rewarding creativity. I call it being way too easy to fucking cheese. Come to think of it, it's no fucking wonder you enjoy sticking random shit together and hoping it works without crashing to pieces. Now, that's how you run our fucking government. And cheating is how you got elected in the fucking first place.
Fellas, please, let's not get political. I just had Michelle banging on my door telling me to keep it down, so can we calm ourselves?
Look, where the Zonai shrines are just little tech demos for your Zonai toys, the Sheikah shrines are more like miniature dungeons. The puzzles are more tightly designed and satisfying to solve, while still allowing for creative use of the game's abilities. I believe Breath's slightly more specific abilities lended themselves better to puzzle design. I think the Shrine Guardians, too, made for much better obstacles than the soldier constructs. One tough Shrine Guardian will give you much more trouble than a bunch of constructs, especially in early game or master mode.
You are inferior.
Yes!
Oh yeah, that fucking gyro maze was really tightly designed, huh?
Oh, now you're against being creative with the shrine solutions?
I think I have to give it up for the Sheikah shrines. 1 point for Breath of the Wild. Two main points decide it for me. First is Donald's point that with all the creative possibilities Ultra Hand offers, the puzzle-specific materials in the shrines just feel restrictive in comparison without too many that really offer any challenge. Secondly is how the Sheikah shrines are just more inspired than the Zonai shrines, which do feel like they're just trying to emulate that.
I want to be like you.
Well, suppose I got to give you something to keep it fair, Donald. This next one's mine, though. Abilities are an easy win for me.
I mean, a flight of stairs should be an easy win, Joe. But you manage to fuck that up all the time.
So first off, we're going to focus on the core abilities. So Sheikah slate abilities versus Zonai, then we'll focus on the champion abilities versus the sage abilities. Keep in mind, this is just abilities versus abilities. Of course, each game is designed around their respective tools, so this isn't a question of puzzle design. We're purely looking at the abilities here.
Well, all I need is 4 little words, fellas. Ultra Hand. There, that's all of Breath of the Wild Sheikah abilities crushed right there. I mean, it already destroys your little magnesis just by not being restricted to picking up metallic objects. That's without even getting into the building yet.
Okay, I'll concede that. Putting magnesis up against Ultra Hand would be a bigger fool's errand than Obamacare.
Fuck you and fuck your high knocks looking ass.
So while you're at it, you can concede Cryon is too. While you're out there building ice platform stepping stones to cross large bodies of water, Ultra Hand lets you build a raft, a speedboat, or even a fucking jet ski.
Okay, fine. Cryon is 2 for fuck's sake. But what about bombs? Sheikah bombs were endless. detonated on command, and even came in two shapes that interacted with the terrain differently. Tears of the Kingdom goes back to limited bombs that just explode on impact. What about stasis? You don't miss that satisfying click of freezing an enemy in place?
I'll admit the Sheikah bombs were dope, but don't get me started on how useless stasis is now.
Yeah?
Want to launch something at your enemies? Gone are the days of freezing it with stasis, then wasting your weapon's durability by bashing it to build momentum, only to watch it fly right over their fucking heads. And now you can attach rockets to something and launch it at them. Hell, attach some wheels and a steering stick, and you can drive it at them.
All right, fine, you win this round. You constantly confused looking asshole.
Need to launch something to send yourself flying into the air on it? Fuck stasis, just build a hot air balloon, attach rockets to something, build a fucking hover bike out of fans and fly up into the air on it. The possibilities are insane.
All right, I fucking get it. Stasis is beat too.
All right, Joe, that was easy. You get this first point.
But I haven't even mentioned fusing yet or ascend.
Joe, you don't need to. We get it.
The fusing alone injects fucking steroids into weapon variety. Such a unique, creative approach to weapon crafting and repairing. Oh, and there's recall.
Give me fucking strength.
That's another slap in the face of stasis. You don't even need to aim a boulder or something that an enemy throws at you. Just hit it with recall, and it flies right back at them.
I couldn't possibly accept that.
Haha, sorry, just thinking of Donald only being able to lift up metallic objects with magnesis, then all he can do with them is fucking drop it again. Ha, ultra hand for the fucking win, baby.
All right, Jesus fucking Christ, you got the point, Joe. Just take W with some damn humility.
Yeah, like you know anything about humility, Mr. fucking Trump Tower.
Guys, please.
It's called brand recognition, Joe. Christ, can you imagine a Biden Tower? They'd have to keep rebuilding because it would keep fucking collapsing.
That's enough.
Yeah, well, the only thing collapsing right now is your chance of winning this thing, you orange piece of shit.
Give me fucking
now
strength.
on to ascend.
Okay, swiftly moving the fuck on now. Joe, you made your point. The abilities and tiers of the kingdom cover everything you could do in Breath of the Wild, and then some. Now champion and sage abilities. Daruk and Yunobo, Riju and Urbosa and so on.
Honestly, I think Daruk's protection makes more sense to compare to Sidon's ability, as they're both shields. Daruk's protection is by far the better shield ability. For one, you just hold block to activate it, whereas with all the sages, you have to go next to their avatar and press A, which can be a pain in the ass if they're moving around a lot.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
And once it's activated, Daruk's protection negates all attacks and takes a few hits, whereas Sidon's is a lot more flimsy.
Hey, don't I got a say in this? I'll see you later, SpongeBob. Things are getting a little weird around here.
So long.
Okay, but what about when you actually compare Goron abilities? Yunobo's launch ability is not only a great offensive move, but if you get on a vehicle, you can fire him from it like a cannonball. It's also super useful for clearing away rock walls in caves without using up the durability of your weapons. Daruk's protection was great, but Yunobo's move is a lot cooler and has more uses.
Maybe so, but Mipha's Grace was way more useful than that flimsy-ass little bubble shield Sidon gives you. Urbosa's Fury, too, felt way more powerful than Riju's lightning strike arrows.
But even if it is, it makes up for it by being way more useful. You can actually target it rather than it just being an area attack. It's also way more available than Urbosa's Fury. Cooldown is nowhere near as long. In fact, that's the case for all of the Sage abilities, not to mention that you can have all the Sage's avatars with you at the same time and have all abilities active simultaneously.
For fuck's sake, I see where this is going.
Was that you throwing in the towel again there, Donnie?
Yeah, fuck it. Reveille's Gale is obsolete too, with tiers offering way more options for vertical travel, so I got nothing left.
Damn right, Donnie. Instead, there's Tulin's wind ability, which is...
Fucking Tulin! Why the hell bring back the champion descendants for a bigger role? Then just bypass my man Tiba for his son. What the fuck, man?
Yeah, for real. Like, oh man, whoever from Breath of the Wild could be the Sage of Wind. If only the Rito had some cool warrior who helped Link, like the other three sages. Oh, I know. How about Tiba's completely unimportant NPC child?
Yeah, that was kind of lame, not gonna lie. But anyway, what I was saying is that with so many possibilities for going upwards, essentially turning Rivali's Gale into a horizontal boost, instead was a stroke of genius.
That's another point for Tears of the Kingdom. Joe, those mushrooms you ate earlier must really be doing the trick. No way could you usually speak for so long without descending into fucking riddles.
Well, actually, I think they're wearing off now. Bracco, we're talking about leg ends of zebras, right? The one where Brandon Dorff is back, and he's got the eggs in his computer at the back of the club. The debit and national.
Well, Joe, you go eat some more mushrooms, and next we'll be covering soundtrack.
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Well, both soundtracks are very similar, of course, but I think Tears of the Kingdom comes out on top. Some beautiful themes return, like the town themes, the stable music, and the gorgeous horse riding themes. Then there's a ton of great new stuff on top of that. The ambience that plays in the Sky Islands, for example, really captures the feeling of being in a peaceful world, high up in the clouds.
Yeah, let me tell you, the new music they bring to the table is great, just great. Nobody loves a good Zelda soundtrack like I do, nobody.
Holy fuck, are we in agreement again? We can give Tears the point and move on?
Whoa! Hold on there, Joe. That's unusually quick and decisive of you. Is one of your staff behind your screen hurrying you on? I said the new music for Tears is great. I didn't say the game has a better soundtrack.
You don't have to say it, man. It's more obvious than your fucking wig.
This is all natural, Joey. Still a golden flowing blonde mane that Zelda herself would envy.
So I really am just a failure.
Okay, so we get there are tracks that appear in both games. Let's focus on the music exclusive to each game instead.
Well, the theme for the Sheikah shrines was excellent. It had such a unique sound that perfectly fit the setting's blend of ancient wonder and advanced technology. The Zonai shrine theme, as I said before, just feels a bit empty.
Just because you're a big fucking loudmouth who doesn't understand subtlety, it has a dreamy sort of otherworldly feel and uses a unique fluid, almost watery sound which makes it feel so serene.
Jesus, Joe, you're putting me to sleep with this music.
Good. It shuts you the hell up for once. Of course, there's the ominous fortress of evil and corruption, Trump Tower, Hyrule Castle, which gets great new music. Man, the first time I walked up to the ground beneath the floating castle, it was pouring rain and that hauntingly beautiful piano piece started playing. Then, of course, there's the more climactic track that plays when you go up to the actual castle. But it also incorporates a really nice callback to that timeless, trusty castle theme from A Link to the Past.
Hey, I've seen this one. It's a classic.
I won't argue against that hauntingly beautiful theme for the ground below the castle, and I'll give you that awesome brass blasting the classic theme. But apart from that, it just feels a little bare compared to that epic battle march from Breath of the Wild. What about the Champions' different themes? They were all fantastic and did a great job communicating the characters' personalities, like Daruk's theme starting off big and mighty to showcase his great strength. And transitioning into a lush piano piece that speaks to the softer, caring guy behind that gruff, rocky Goron exterior. Then there's the divine beast themes. Both the dungeons themselves and the battles with the beast beforehand had amazing music. There are the smaller themes I miss too. No Breath of the Wild fan could ever forget that robotic, threatening theme for the Guardians. The first time you met an undamaged Guardian in the field and heard that dangerous piano melody setting in, you knew you were in trouble. Soldier constructs, though, don't even have their own theme.
You can't scare me with this.
Tears has some great dungeon music. That haunting flute at the beginning of the Wind Temple was the first dungeon music I'd heard in Tears, and it set the tone perfectly. Then the later stages of the dungeon themes, of course, incorporate those beautiful melodies you mentioned from the Champion and Divine Beast themes. My favorite had to be hearing Daruk's theme in the Fire Temple.
Yeah, and where does it get those melodies from? Breath of the Wild. Again, I don't see how bringing up all the music Tears borrows from Breath is helping your case. Tears of the Kingdom soundtrack is great, and it brings plenty of fantastic tracks of its own to the table. But it owes most of its great soundtrack to what it reuses, borrows, or continues from Breath of the Wild.
You know, I think I'm starting to agree. Look, we've spoken about some of the phenomenal music in these games, but we haven't actually mentioned the main themes yet. They seem a good final point to end on.
Well, oh man, is it just me, or does that soaring main theme from Breath of the Wild just hit different? It hits in a way that Tears of the Kingdoms doesn't quite recapture.
No, yeah, that's just you. That's nostalgia talking, you old-fashioned bastard.
Look, I have to tell you, no disrespect to Tears of the Kingdom's fantastic main theme. I love it. Love it. It's epic and adventurous, and the melody absolutely soars, fitting with the sky element of the game.
Exactly. It just fits so perfectly when Link takes that first skydive. Amazing moment.
But Breath of the Wild's theme just has a special emotion to it, man. It cuts deep, whether that's influenced by nostalgia or not. It's just so fucking majestic, and the melody has such a strong beauty to it. And oh man, when those fucking strings kick in, holy shit. It hits your soul harder than your face hits the fucking floor whenever you try to walk off stage. Tears has definitely earned its place among all the great epic Zelda themes we've heard over the years, but Breath of the Wilds is just stunning, absolutely magical.
God damn, it's another tough one, but those main themes definitely confirmed what I was leaning towards. I have to give the point to Breath of the Wild. Now, that's thanks to the credit it gets for creating this new style of Zelda music, as well as a lot of the specific melodies used by both games. I'm also thinking of the more impactful original music. Anyway, next we're going to discuss dungeons. Breath of the Wild's Divine Beasts versus Tears of the Kingdom's Temples.
Well, let me be the first to admit that Breath of the Wild's dungeons do lack variety, with the Divine Beast interiors as the setting for all four of them. I was certainly pretty critical of them at first. However, in hindsight, I do think they make for a much more interesting take on Zelda dungeons than Tears' elemental-themed temples, which we've seen done better many times before.
How the hell do you figure that? Tears saw a return to form with actual dungeons, with actual variety and unique environments for each one.
Very liberal use of the word unique there, Joey. You're really going to make out like we've never had a water desert fire or wind temple before? You think that little smattering of Sky Island's Tears calls a water temple can hold a candle to Ocarina's, or the Great Bay Temple, or the ancient cistern?
I'm sorry, but that's pathetic.
Neither game's dungeons are really up to scratch with previous dungeons, if you ask me, but Breath of the Wild at least partly compensates for that with a really unique spin on the concept. I don't think we'll see dungeons like the Divine Beasts again, but I think we'll be seeing plenty more like Tears if the Kingdom's more generic dungeons.
I just want to jump in here for a second. Donald, I hear you that neither game's dungeons are really on par with what we've gotten before, so let's focus on Breath and Tears.
Look, Donald, I admit that elemental themes for dungeons are very overdone by now. But you're acting like that's all they have going on with them. You're ignoring what does make them stand out. I mean, you can't claim that the Stormwind Arc wasn't a brilliant new take on a wind temple. A huge Noah's Ark-style airship floating in the eye of a storm, a harsh blizzard blasting you as you make your way around it. Great stuff. I really like the Fire Temple too for its use of mine carts to get around. Lining up the tracks to get around and make it to the different floors was fun and made you stop and think for a bit.
All right, what about the water temple? That was just lame. Getting to it was fun, and I wanted more use of the sky islands like that. But the temple itself was just anticlimactic. It was just a small-ass collection of sky islands. It only felt like a dungeon because you fought a boss at the end. The lightning temple, too, just felt like a pretty standard desert dungeon.
I'll give you the water temple was definitely the weakest in tiers.
No shit.
But you're just talking shit about the lightning temple. It was like something out of Tomb Raider, a claustrophobic pyramid with tight corridors that were infested with the game's unique insectoid take on Gibdos. The electricity theme with an old desert tomb gave it a little bit of flavor, and there's even some Ocarina of Time-style mirror shield puzzles in there. And just when you think the game must have 4 like Breath of the Wild, you come across the Construct Factory and Temple of Spirit. So that's 5 in the base game, where Breath's 5th dungeon was DLC.
Yes, so what?
Look, you're complaining that we've seen elemental dungeons before. Well, the Construct Factory uses the game's own trademark Zonai architecture and depth setting. The best part is you're not just going around finding terminals or switches to activate, but gathering parts for the best fucking sage ability in the game. A mech.
Come on, we're just talking about dungeons here. Mineru is a separate gameplay thing.
All that build-up for such a weak-ass robot.
We can rebuild Earth. We have the technology.
Hasta la vista, baby.
But I'm saying that gathering the parts to build her mech suit was a great premise for the dungeon.
That's all Tears Dungeons covered. What about the divine beasts?
Well, as I said, yes, they're also elemental dungeons, but they're a unique take on them, with each one instead being based on an animal associated with the setting. Not only is this a great visual identity, but it actually plays into the mechanics of the dungeons, where you can move a certain part of the animal to actually alter the environment. For example, Ruta's water spouting trunk can be moved to different positions. This simple movement changes where the water falls, which plays into puzzles like putting out fires and changing the direction water wheels move in. Tears of the Kingdom's temples have no such unique mechanic.
What about how you have the sages with you as you traverse them? You need their abilities to activate the various locks and switches you're looking for. Completing dungeons with a sage at your side was like Wind Waker again. It was great.
Oh, no way did you just compare them to Wind Waker's dungeons.
Blasphemy.
In Wind Waker, you had to work with, even play as, the sages to navigate the earth and wind temples. In Tears of the Kingdom, the sages' abilities aren't baked into the level design at all, apart from activating the switches.
Look, I've been able to describe something about each dungeon. I noticed you touched on Vah Ruta, then just went back to shitting on Tears' temples. Probably because you've already fucking covered everything. Every dungeon in Breath of the Wild is the same divine beast shtick.
Yeah, because they were directly intertwined with the story. That's something else that makes them stand out from other dungeons. They weren't just these temples and buildings that only seemed to exist in the world to be dungeons. They had clear lore and a tragic story behind them. They're the final resting places of the champions, and you've came to them to free them of corruption and to restore their ancient purpose of fighting Calamity Ganon. You're reminded that one of Link's old friends gave their lives here. You're standing in a corrupted monument to Hyrule's failure to stop the calamity. Then, as you fight your way through each beast and activate each terminal, the music picks up and the spirit of the deceased champion cheers you on. You feel the stakes of what you're fighting for. Man, it's touching as fuck. Then finally you face the blights, and on defeating them, you at last free the champion's spirit and give them the chance to fulfill their purpose and help you defeat Ganon. Tears' temples don't quite have the same heart.
Okay, I think I know how to do this. Listen, this is very tough. I'm with Donald that these dungeons still pale in comparison to proper dungeons of past Zeldas in terms of their length, level design, and personality. I understand these are very different types of games now, but I still think these newer dungeons could be a lot more substantial. That said, I have to give the point to Tears of the Kingdom. This is because of the greater variety The lead-ups to the dungeons, too, were fantastic, with that ascent to the Stormwind arc being absolutely amazing. So atmospheric. Tears just does a lot more with its dungeons.
Fuck yes, enjoy those 2 points of yours, Orange Man. It looks like they're all you're getting.
However, I want to give all due credit to the Divine Beasts. Sure, they weren't the best for variety, but I agree with you, Donald, that they made for a very unique spin on the concept of Zelda dungeons that I don't think we'll see anything like again. Before Breath of the Wild, I'd never have expected mechanized animal fortresses to work so well with Zelda, but they really do. Combined with the emotion, the music, and the stories of the champions associated with them, they have, as you put it, Donald, a special heart that Tears' dungeons just don't have. Tears is our winner for this round, absolutely. As I said, it just does a lot more with its dungeons, but all considered, it feels a little wrong. The beasts have just enough that the temples don't, for me to say. Half a point to Breath of the Wild.
What the fuck? Come on, man. What do you mean half a point? Are we just making this shit up as we go along now?
Ha! Suck it up, you old creep. Don't cry, it's still a win for you. Nice to see the Divine Beasts get some appreciation. People have been very hard on them as dungeons, I think.
On that note, let's call it a day for this part. Hope you good folks out there don't mind me giving something to both games here. Next, we'll have multiple categories each with a point up for grab under the theme of Sheikah versus Zonai. Guardians versus Constructs. They're both ancient robots created by each respective race, and they serve as the trademark recurring enemy for each game. But which are better?
Guardians any day, they were technological beasts. Far more of a threat than the Constructs. They just look awesome, man. They're absolutely the most unique Zelda enemy to date. The first time you're hit by one of their laser beams tells you they're no joke. And oh man, the first time you encounter an undamaged one and that infamous piano theme starts playing as they chase you down, unforgettable. Their sheer unstoppability made for some great gameplay moments, just great. Constructs just don't have the same presence at all.
You could say the same about the Guardians once you get the Master Sword. They can't chase you down if you chop off their legs. Hell, even better, just learn the timing for deflecting their beam. Yeah, such an unstoppable force that can be destroyed early game with a well-timed fucking pot lid.
Yes, but that takes skill and practice, Joe. Don't act like you, of all people, have the motor skills to pull off the timing.
Hey, so what if Jill has to come in and press the buttons for me sometimes? Look anyway, they're far more animated and full of personality than the Guardians were.
I'll trade cute animations for better gameplay any day, and the Guardians added so much more challenge and variety to Breath of the Wild. They were absolutely formidable, and there were so many variants you had to approach differently. There were damaged, immobile stalkers you meet first, then the undamaged stalkers. There were flying skywatchers, turrets, smaller scouts you fight in shrines, those unique sentries on Death Mountain. Constructs all just fought like standard enemies, and sure, there were some stronger classes, but they were all the same soldier class.
I think you're forgetting about the Ranger Constructs. Sure, they're not enemies, but they're a different variant, and they look pretty cool. You're also forgetting about Flux Constructs.
Jesus, fucking Flux Constructs. Look, they were fun to fight for a while until you realize they're both like the only unique, stronger enemy the Skies has to offer, and the only other enemy variant of Construct.
This is Flux Construct.
Tears of the Kingdom.
This is the 7th week in a row you've shown
Flux Construct.
in class.
I eventually got fucking sick of finding them. It just comes back to what I mentioned in the first part about the Sky Islands being underutilized.
Look, we're not getting into that now, man. That was the first part. Something else I think Constructs have over Guardians is how they act as their own faction. They're just following their defensive programming, so they fight not just Link, but the monsters too. They aren't just big bad robot monsters like the Guardians. They have a bit more depth and more of a story.
Oh, you want to talk about story? The Guardians were Ganon's key to laying waste to Hyrule. They were a perfect demonstration of both Ganon's cunning and his raw power. Through them, he devastated the kingdom, and now some remain and patrol its ruin. With Calamity Ganon being presented as more an evil force of nature than a single being, you can almost imagine every Guardian is an extension of him, and he's seeing you and hunting you directly through them. Their damaged bodies lying around the kingdom, particularly at the sites of great battles made for some fantastic world building. Parts of Hyrule and Tears of the Kingdom just feel empty with them removed. I don't think the constructs have any such backstory. They just pale in comparison to the Guardians, face it.
Fellas, it's an easy one for me. Breath of the Wild gets the point for the Guardians. Sure, the constructs may be more animated, but the Guardians just had such a massive impact. Their presence was something to be reckoned with. They were much more threatening, much more varied, and their role in the lore of making Hyrule the ruined kingdom it is makes them all the more terrifying and impressive. And as you pointed out, Donald, great for world building. Constructs are just kind of there, and you fight them like any standard enemy. But the Guardians are straight-up hunters. And no Joe, not the kind of hunter that threatens officials over shady business deals.
Fake news, man. My boy Hunter is an absolute angel.
Sure thing, Crooked Joe. I'd sooner trust fucking Ganondorf to be a law-abiding citizen than you and your cokehead son.
Oh, give me a fucking break, Mr. Impeachment.
Fake news!
If Ganondorf was real, you and him be real fucking cozy together.
Oh, fuck off.
Okay, shouldn't have brought that up. Okay, next up is weapons and armor. Of course, each game has its sets of weapons and armor created by the Sheikah and Zonai, respectively. Let's put them head to head.
Well, this is an easy win for me. Breath of the Wild's Guardian weapons basically brought fucking lightsabers to Zelda.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age.
The blue energy blades just look sick and are so satisfying to swing around, and the shields are like some cool force field.
Look, laser swords are cool and everything, but Tears of the Kingdom also has cool light-themed Zonai weapons. The blades of the Zonite weapons and shields are super creative. They look like a light spell of some kind is being cast from the hilt. Very creative weapon design.
Look, I'll give you the light rune look of the Zonite equipment is cool, but most of the Zonai weapons are just these clunky old-looking pieces of shit with a gold and green color scheme that just looks fucking gross, terrible.
What is that? What the fuck is that?
Such a come down from the futuristic, slick, and aesthetically pleasing design of the Guardian equipment. Sad.
You're focusing too much on style over substance here, Donald. I mean, what about the weapons you can make with Ultra Hand and fusing? They're technically Zonai weapons too.
Oh, come on. Ultra Hand and fusing are abilities.
Hold up there, Donald. I think it's very much a valid point. Let's hear it, Joe.
Listen, Zonai weapons extend far beyond the standard weapons you pick up from constructs. There's the emitters and cannons for starters. They can be attached to any weapon or shield and turn any piece of equipment into a Zonai flamethrower, laser blaster, or cannon. Then just look at the crazy weapons and shit people have built with Ultra Hand. Laser Gatling guns, crazy-ass flamethrowers, tanks, aerial laser cannons, things with time bombs. It's insane.
Okay, so we've spoken plenty about weapons. What about armor?
The ancient armor looks awesome too. Fair enough, the long-ass helmet may look a little goofy, but when you're equipped with ancient armor and some Guardian weapons, Link looks like some badass Guardian hunter from the future. Wearing the Zonai armor, though, yeah, he just looks like he's ready to sacrifice a fucking goat.
Okay, again with the style over substance. But its perk of making your Ultra Hand creations last longer was far more useful than just increasing defense against one specific kind of enemy.
I'm sorry, but style is absolutely half the point of any game's clothing and armor. Fuck them for giving Link a great-looking new signature outfit with the archaic gear, then having it be fucking weak as shit and unfucking upgradable.
Okay, listen, I'm gonna call this one. We're getting off topic and starting to bleed into the next topic, which is aesthetic. Weapons and armor point goes to Tears of the Kingdom. Okay, so let me be clear. If we were just going off of the look of the weapons and armor, I'd have to give it to the Sheikah. However, as I said, aesthetic is our next category, and the main decider here is functionality. Based on that, I have to give it to the Zonai. Next up is aesthetic. Now we're covering the look and feel of Sheikah and Zonai stuff.
This is so fucking biased, Obama. Come on, man. Aesthetic was already one of your main reasons for giving the point to Sheikah Shrines in Part 2, and you just said you'd have given that point to weapons and armor.
All right, Joe, so don't fucking cry about it. Convince me. Go ahead.
Well, everything about the Zonai aesthetic is just so incredibly serene and spiritual. Look at the Sky Islands. Orange Man admitted himself back in Part 1 that they're visually gorgeous with their autumn colors and their lush music and atmosphere. Donald, I know you think the skies were underutilized in terms of gameplay and exploration, but you cannot deny their beautiful execution of aesthetic and atmosphere.
And I'm not going to deny that. The Sky Islands are gorgeous.
Well, the Sky Islands are only one face of the Zonai aesthetics. There's the shrines. Man, I don't fucking care what either of you say or that the Sheikah shrines were wrongly given the point before. The serene and clean look and vibe of the shrines of light is amazing. It's like you've reached some other dimension.
All right, that's a lot in favor of the Zonai. Donald, let's hear about the Sheikah.
Just look at Jomon pottery and architecture, and you can easily see where Breath of the Wild got its visual inspiration from. The result is a super unique collection of guardian enemies, shrine environments, and other structures that look like a perfect mixture of both ancient and futuristic. The blue mystical light that powers Sheikah technology even carries over the UI, most notably on the screen of the Sheikah slate and the map screen. Tears doesn't even deviate from that. It still uses the same blue, instead of giving Link some Zonai device that would carry over the Zonai aesthetic to the UI. Sheikah towers look cool as fuck, and Joe doesn't even have a counterpoint for them because Tears uses Sheikah towers too. Not to mention how badass the divine beasts look, man. And speaking of badass, I finally get to bring up my baby, the Master Cycle Mother fucking Zero. I gotta tell you, for all the vehicles you can build in Tears of the Kingdom, nothing comes close to looking as slick or as bad as that baby. And well, finally, Barry, you already admitted that your weapons and armor point probably would have went to me if it were just based on their look. So I'm reminding you of that for this round. It's a pivotal visual style that encompasses both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Damn. Look, boys, this one is hard. But I gotta hand it to you, Joe. I did say to convince me, and what do you know? You managed to tip the scales harder than you tipped that fucking bike that one time. Once you brought up the Sky Islands and convinced me that their lush environments do come under the Zonai aesthetic, man, I was suddenly at a stalemate. However, I could have done with more of that Sky Island style in the game, and I would like to have seen it more fleshed out and developed. Joe, you made me appreciate the Zonai aesthetic a bit more, but I'm sorry, man. Their stone buildings just don't stack up for me to the iconic Sheikah aesthetic of Breath of the Wild. I mean, even Tears of the Kingdom reuses that in quite a few places, which is another deciding factor here. Wow, these games have really been trading blows so far.
Barack, we better end this part real soon, because I can feel another dose of mushrooms coming on. These ones are wearing.
Oh, fucking
what
God
were we doing here
us.
again? The
off he fucking
leg
goes
send
again.
of Zelda, breast of, you know, the Thingdom.
Oh, give it a rest, old
I
man.
think the debit of America is reliant
Okay,
on
Barry,
Ganondorf's
you want to just move this
decision.
on?
And
Folks,
if the cookie,
we're going to tackle story.
If
It's
the
gonna be a big
Wellington
one.
boot of George Washington.
First off, I want to hear what's great about your game's lore. Think of it as an opening statement. Donald, you go first.
Okay, well, the very beginning of Breath of the Wild's lore sees us tens of thousands of years after the rest of the entire Zelda timeline. The Sheikah were previously a very elusive people who worked in the shadows, almost as Hyrule's secret services. But in all these years, they've taken center stage and advanced the kingdom's technology, allowing Hyrule to prosper and thrive. We don't see that time period, of course. We only see the guardians, divine beasts, shrines, and towers left over from it. It leaves us to picture a prospering Hyrule full of Sheikah technology, where guardians fulfill their namesake, wandering the fields and fighting off monsters, where many people have a Sheikah slate. It's the distant future of the previous Zelda games. That alone is such a cool concept, and it's only the very beginnings of Breath of the Wild's lore. And finally, it makes you wonder what happened for so much of that technology to get lost and buried underground. The second calamity is like the flip side of this utopia, and is a lesson in the dangers of relying on technology. The broken remains of corrupted guardians around major battle sites were fantastic for world building. They told their own stories.
Falling asleep here, Orange Man.
It doesn't take much, does it, Joe? Don't worry, old timer. All I have left for now is one question.
Why do I get to still in a deja vu?
An advanced ancient race faced the demonic power of Ganon and ended up sealing him away beneath Hyrule Castle for tens of thousands of years, only for him to finally break free again in the present. They couldn't even be bothered to come up with something new. It's so sad.
My God, you're such a fucking loser, man. Hey, Barry, is it my turn yet?
Yes, go for it, Joe.
So long before even the ancient Sheikah of the first calamity hit the scene, We learn that the Zonai, that elusive race whose ruins appeared in Breath of the Wild, are very much the focus of the lore. We learn that they were these strange godlike beings who descended from the skies to the ancient people of the young kingdom below. Their leader, Rauru, joined with the Hylian woman, Sonia, to become the first king and queen of their new kingdom, which they named Hyrule.
What a fucking crock of shit, man. Not my Hyrule, I'll tell you that.
Donald, shut the hell up. Anyway, unlike in the era of the ancient Sheikah, we actually see the lore unfold as one with the main story. Now, I know the backstory we see unfold is a separate topic for the next part, so I won't dive too much into that. In terms of the wider lore, though, we get the introduction of a whole new race to the Zelda mythos. The Zonai are the Zelda version of ancient aliens. They descend from the skies with their advanced powers and technology to help the ancient Hylians develop their civilization.
I bring you love. It's bringing love. Don't let it get away.
Even the murals from the beginning of the game look like depictions of ancient aliens. But just like Breath of the Wild's technological theme, they don't go overboard with the sci-fi element. They just use it as inspiration. The result is a fantastic, mysterious era at the very beginning of Hyrule's storied history.
All right, well, that's our opening statements, I guess. Now for those rebuttals. Donald, what are your thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom's lore?
Very disappointing.
Fucking hell, man.
And that starts right away with the game's lore dump at the beginning. They immediately start dropping this huge revisionist history on you that these Zonai, who we've never seen or heard of before, were actually the fucking founders of Hyrule after coming down from their islands in the skies. Hello? Was that not literally the ending of Skyward Sword? Are we just ignoring Skyward Sword now, or worse, retconning it?
Am I a joke to you?
How many fucking origin stories do we need for Hyrule, for Christ's sake? And I mean, imprisoning war. Isn't that something from A Link to the Past's lore? Surely they can't be the same thing, right? This can't be some retcon. And if it's supposed to be the founding era of Hyrule, then how the fuck does Ganondorf fit into it? Ocarina of Time is his origins. And at the end of it, he's sealed and accounted for until either Wind Waker or Twilight Princess, depending on the timeline.
But in Tears, his origins are in Hyrule's earliest era. Then he's sealed away for the rest of its history. So he's obviously not the Ganondorf we know.
Holy shit, Donald. This is about as cohesive as one of Joe's speeches.
Hey.
Exactly. Tears' lore makes it feel like something confused between a reboot and a continuation, with aspects that are indistinguishable between plot holes and retcons.
Wow, imagine being such a loser you still give a shit about the Zelda timeline.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Listen, continuity and lore have never been the focus of Zelda stories. It's allowed each game to be its own legend. It could be a new branch of the timeline, or even a different continuity entirely. Maybe the world saw some reset, like Wind Waker's flood or something.
One of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
And then this Hyrule that the Zonai came down and founded is a second Hyrule, with the original kingdom lost.
Well, now you're just writing fucking fan fiction, Joe.
Come on, man, it's called a theory.
This is fake news. The game never says that or even implies it. If you have to pull shit out your ass to make a story make sense, and even then it still doesn't, then it's not fucking good.
Shit. None of it matters, man. Even previous games with returning links have been very self-contained.
Look, you can have self-contained stories and branching timelines while at least sticking to some kind of logic and having some kind of coherency. Is just some kind of in-universe clarification for this, even a little hint, so much to fucking ask?
Will somebody please explain what's going on?
Tears of the Kingdom insists on doing the ancient civilization thing again, only this time while apparently rewriting the series to make these furry motherfuckers and their degenerate human partners the OGs of Hyrule. If you're making the founding era of Hyrule a major part of your lore and story when we already had a whole ass game leading up to that very event, maybe explain the apparent contradiction just a little.
Joe, your turn for the rebuttal against Breath of the Wild.
Oh, you mean we're finally moving on from Donald being a fucking drama queen about the Zelda timeline? Well, just enough of the Zonai era is seen to actually fucking matter to us. The actual ancient race itself is an improvement too. What little we see of the ancient Sheikah, they're just these useless, crusty-ass old mummies just sitting there, waiting to die.
You just can't wait for me to die, can you?
Yeah, they remind me a lot of you, actually, Sleepy Joe.
Yeah, like you're a fucking spring chick.
And don't forget about my boy, Maz Koja.
Anyway, the Zonai, on the other hand, are a much more powerful and much more interesting-looking people. Yeah, It's another origin story for Hyrule that confuses the timeline again, but who fucking cares? It'll fit in there somehow.
Listen, Breath of the Wild's lore brought a fresh perspective to the series in introducing a whole new stretch of the timeline far after the rest of the games. Tears of the Kingdom with its lore, on the other hand, it's so unnecessarily confusing and just uninspired to focus on the founding of Hyrule, as if there wasn't already an entire game dedicated to that.
Fucking boo-hoo, man. Nintendo never cared about the timeline.
Oh, by the way, just another retcon they throw in there to be extra confusing.
Oh, what now?
That ancient hero from the first Calamity? Yeah, he was a Zonai now, I guess.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Even though that was supposed to be the time of the ancient Sheikah, with the Zonai long gone, Joe, they couldn't even be consistent with the game. It's a direct sequel to, never mind the rest of the series.
Okay, we're not getting into that. I'm fucking confused enough. The point goes to Breath of the Wild. We did not need another goddamn origin story. At no fucking point is it even suggested that this is some refounded Hyrule or a different timeline, and yet, because of the Zonai and this new Ganondorf, it has to be. It's now a different continuity that somehow has knowledge of the others.
Whether skyward bound, adrift in time, or steeped in the glowing embers of twilight, a sacred blade is forever bound to the soul of the hero.
Seriously, fuck these, oh, it's a second Hyrule and cyclical timeline, fucking copes. They never explain jack shit, and they never will, because there is no explanation. They just don't give a fuck. So that's all these theories are. Cope.
I have to agree. But listen, fucked up continuity and timelines aside, we already had an advanced ancient civilization. We already had an origin story where people from the skies came down and discovered Hyrule. Tears just feels like an uninspired rehash, man.
Then, of course, the aftermath of the more recent Great Calamity is just far more of an impactful setting. Guardian bodies scattered around battle sites is a way more striking sight than just a bunch of fallen rocks and stones from Sky Islands. All right, here we go with story, folks. So again, a few points are on the go here. The first is for backstory. The memory cut scenes we see throughout the game.
Well, look, I have to get this in. Tears of the Kingdom fucked up here.
All right, go on.
Well, listen, Breath of the Wild presented a new method of storytelling for Zelda in a non-linear way. Now, this made complete sense for Breath of the Wild because Link had amnesia. There also weren't really any memories that you needed to see before any other ones to understand them. But because Tears of the Kingdom just had to copy the formula entirely, that game also allows you to find the dragon tears out of order. Now, the problem there is that, well, put it this way. The first cutscene I found was as intended, where Zelda arrives in the past. Then the next cutscene I found in the same sitting was Memory 9, which starts with the reveal of this puppet Zelda and ended with Zelda weeping over Sonia's body.
What? What the fuck?
What the fuck kind of storytelling is that? It felt like the game basically spoiled itself for me.
Okay, but we still need to discuss the content of the cutscenes. Joe?
Look, in summary, Breath of the Wild's backstory is about Zelda growing to like Link after not initially liking him. And then the Calamity kicks
Fuck
off.
me, man.
That's about it, really. But Tears' story has a lot more going on. It's a tale of Ganondorf himself, betraying the founding king of Hyrule and obtaining ultimate power.
You just totally brushed Breath of the Wild story under the carpet there. That's just fucking weak.
Yeah, let's focus more on events rather than just biased plot summaries, please.
And I mentioned that I liked how we actually see the ancient era. Rauru and Sonia were really likable, and they seemed to genuinely care for Zelda.
Oh, your concern is very sweet, Zelda. But listen, you can focus your attention on returning home.
I love Minoru too. She's so wise and powerful.
Ultimately, the Secret Stone only amplifies your power. It doesn't suddenly grant you mastery and control.
Ganondorf was an absolute joy to see.
Yeah, it's insane that Tears was the first time in 17 fucking years that Ganondorf, not Ganon, but Ganondorf, was our villain. The last time being Twilight Princess back in 2006.
Exactly. Yeah, he's been in 4 Smash games, but only 3 Zelda games before Tears, discounting spin-offs and cameos, obviously. It's a shame Tears didn't do him justice at all.
Oh, come on, man. What are you talking about? He dominated every cutscene he was in. My trump card here, actually maybe Biden card would be a better choice of words. Zelda receiving the broken master's sword and making the impossible choice to become an immortal dragon. Oh man, it's so tragic.
Yeah, Joe, no doubt an all-time great Zelda moment, but everything in the backstory leading up to it was fucking shit, so lame. Rauru and Sonya are not only boring characters who just exist to spout exposition at Zelda, but they're also the face of the most stupid aspects of the plot. I mean, how fucking idiotic are they to trust Ganondorf? Yeah, him kneeling to the king and faking loyalty was a nice callback to Ocarina and everything. But are they really gonna trust that clearly evil motherfucker? They really just let him leave, even after he makes a thinly veiled threat to their lives.
It is unfortunate that the noble Zonai no longer grace this world with their presence. All except you and your sister, that is.
I am well aware of his evil nature. For that reason, and others, I want him close.
Are you stupid or something?
Don't get me started on the lame-ass, lazy plot devices that are the secret stones. I mean, secret fucking how? They wear them as fucking jewelry. Ganondorf is able to literally swipe unlimited power right from around Sonya's neck when he kills her. Yeah, what a well-kept fucking secret that is.
That was easy.
It's so frustrating how Rauru is revered as this hero who made the ultimate sacrifice, when it's his impossibly dumb fault with his Zonai plot device stones that Ganondorf gets so powerful in the first place.
So I never liked him as much after that, because I don't like losers. But Frank, let me get to it. He hit me. He's not a war hero. He's a war hero. He's a war hero. 5.5 years. He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Okay, now let's focus on Breath of the Wild's backstory.
Well, Breath of the Wild definitely makes the case for less is more in terms of plot. It's more character-focused than plot-focused, and I think it's much better for it, rather than some cliche story about magical stones and an imprisoning war that every fucking character feels the need to explain.
The Demon King.
The Demon King.
My secret stone.
Secret stone.
I know.
Breath's cutscenes focus on the build-up to the great calamity and how the characters grow and interact throughout. Zelda and Link's relationship grows and develops so well.
That boy is a living reminder of her own failures. Well, at least that's how the princess sees him.
Your commitment to the training necessary to fulfill your goal is really quite admirable. I see now why you would be the chosen one. What if one day you realized that you just weren't meant to be a fighter? Oh, I really am just a failure. The entire kingdom. My father, most of all. I tried and I failed them.
Their chemistry alone was a much more engrossing story than anything we see in Tears. Same for the father-daughter relationship, as King Rome was forced to be hard on his daughter as much as he loved her.
Now you are here wasting your time. You need to be dedicating every moment you have to your training.
Dude, please, King Rome sounds like they just dragged some guy off the street to voice him.
Hey, unlike you, Joe, he's a real leader. Show some respect.
Sorry, Don, but he does just sound like some 25-year-old dude doing an impression of his grandpa.
Thank you for coming, Mr.
Fire! Wang fire! This is my wife, Sapphire!
Oh, because the voice acting in Tears of the Kingdom is just A-list.
What an unexpected answer. We are the king and queen who founded Hyrule, after all. My name is Rauru, King Rauru of Hyrule.
Cut!
Fair point. The voice acting is pretty amateur in both games.
So if this calamity Ganon does in fact return, what can we really do? We just don't seem to know much about what we'll be up against.
Let's move on.
Then, oh man, there's the champions. They're all so lovable and deep in their own way.
Gee, this is uplifting. She's making it sound like we already lost.
Wasn't this your idea? You're the one who wanted to designate the appointed knight with all the ceremonial pomp, grandeur, and nonsense we could muster.
Oh, give it a rest.
Just Rivali alone has more depth and personality in the tip of his beak than any of the new characters in Tears of the Kingdom. So then, when the calamity does come, it's devastating. You feel for these characters you've come to know and love, as they go on to face this apocalypse, knowing that they fail and lose their lives.
Then Zelda, after all her struggling and turmoil and pain, finally unlocking her powers just in time to save Link and to give Hyrule one last hope. Yeah, that's a way more satisfying culmination of events than her permanently turning into a dragon, only for it to be reversed later.
Was that?
So let's lay this out here. Zelda's sacrifice and tears may be amazing, but really I think you could make a good case that it's the only memorable part of Tears' story. A lot of these cutscenes feel like the characters are just sitting around explaining the plot to you. I mean, the exact same cutscene at the end of every dungeon was so fucking lame.
Secret stone?
Yes, again!
So that was the imprisonment.
I know. I got it. I got the concept.
Ganondorf, I feel like he's just there to take advantage of Rauru and Sonia's stupidity. Yeah, let's let this sorcerer who tried to take over the kingdom and who just indirectly threatened to make the Zonai fucking extinct go free. While we all wear these super powerful stones as accessories in plain sight, then call them secret for some reason. We'll just keep an eye on him. It's just not a good story. The characters feel very flat, and yeah, it feels like they should have had the cutscenes unlock in chronological order. Breath of the Wild gets the point.
Like Ganondorf really dead-ass kneels there and basically says, yo, it would be a shame if something were to happen. And their response is to just keep an eye on him. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of weak and pathetic response from a leader I'd expect from you, Joe.
Whatever, man. Your response would probably be to want all Gerudo out of the country. Man, I can just hear your bullshit now.
They're coming here illegally for our Vai, and they're bringing evil sorcerers with them. We're going to build a wall around Gerudo Valley, and we're going to make the Gerudo pay for it.
Next up is Main Quest.
Well, this is yet another thing Tears owes completely to Breath. They didn't even attempt to change up the formula. Link wakes up in an unfamiliar cave and completes a boxed-off tutorial area where he's guided by the spirit of a king of Hyrule as he gains his new abilities. Then, after visiting the Temple of Time, he's able to go down to explore the rest of the world as he sets out to find Zelda and prepare to defeat Ganon. Then he hits up a Sheikah outpost where he speaks to the leader, who explains that he has to travel to the Gerudo, Zora, Goron, and Reito villages to help them with their plight and complete a dungeon at each one.
Was living in a state of perpetual deja vu.
Along the way, he looks for these memories scattered across the world that tell him what happened with Zelda in the past, and conquers a load of shrines that help him prepare for the final battle and make him strong enough to find and pull the Master Sword. Then once you've done that, you go to Hyrule Castle for the endgame.
Do you ever have deja vu, Mrs. Lancaster?
Tears just redoes that fucking verbatim.
How do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of
Tears of the Kingdom.
And Joe Biden. And Joe Biden should be ashamed of himself if he knows what he's even doing.
Come on, man. The 4 villages you visit before the dungeons were utilized much better this time. I mean, Gerudo City basically being the Walking Dead in the middle of a sandstorm. I was going to put him what a fantastic concept. It was very atmospheric and creepy. Helping Riju take on the Jibdos was amazing, as was ascending to the Skyward Arc with Tulin after finding a frozen, lonely-feeling Reito village.
Oh, you mean the villages where nobody seems to fucking know Link? Why the fuck are they so scared of basic continuity?
You took Korok seeds from me.
I don't even know who you are.
I mean, not only has our boy Cass just fucking vanished, but his family are still in Reito Village and they never even acknowledge his absence.
Oh, come
That's
on,
some
man.
Twilight Zone shit.
We've already talked about how fucking pointless it is to give a fuck about continuity in Zelda. Why does any of this shit matter?
It's supposed to be a direct sequel and it's set in the same world, Joe. Basic continuity isn't a big fucking ask. And I mean, why doesn't Link tell anybody anything he fucking finds out about Zelda?
Why doesn't the mute protagonist tell people
Seriously?
something? Let me think.
That's the worst fucking cope ever, Joe. Link can speak canonically. He does it all the time. We just don't hear it.
Listen, I have to go for Breath of the Wild again. Just because you're reusing the world doesn't mean you have to do the same goddamn thing with it. Sure, the use of the towns is cool, but for me as our judge here, They just don't make up for the fact we're doing the same quest, meeting the same characters in the same locations with basically the same goal as before. Donald, you mentioned way back in part 1 how you felt that skies and depths were underused. It's only now talking about the main quest and thinking of what could have been that I fully appreciate where you were coming from. Because the bulk of the game story takes place in Hyrule again. We have an underworld that's just as big as the overworld, yet ignored almost entirely by the main story, besides a few dungeons in the very end of the game. Then the skies are even worse off. Besides the wind and water temples, they feel like an afterthought. Imagine a story that instead took you up to much larger areas in the sky, like the Great Sky Island.
Thank you. I'm glad you're seeing sense, Obama. I still think Red Dead Redemption 2 was a great example of how to reuse a map.
Does this trolley go to Tahiti?
Simply put, don't have it be the main setting again. Set the bulk of the story in the new parts of your world. 5 years of development time is more than enough for a mostly new map. I'm sorry, I will not concede on that.
Here we fucking go again with this shit.
Listen, there's a massive discussion to be had there, but for now we have to move on. Link is standing at the gate to Hyrule Castle. Depending on your game, he heads forward either directly to the corrupted castle or towards the great chasm underneath the floating castle. Which game leads to the better climax?
Hyrule Castle was an absolute blast to explore. It was crawling with tough enemies. It had interior and exterior areas that you weaved in and out of, and it offered more exploration than Tears' Forgotten Foundations. There was some great lore to be found at the castle, too. The king's hidden room and his diary, Zelda's study and her diary. That epic battle march set the tone perfectly. It was truly a fortress, a huge place with a lot to explore. I wish both games had more places like it. In fact, instead of this whole underused, oversized, repetitive depths area, Tears of the Kingdom should have had a more concentrated, tough underground area like Breath of the Wild's Hyrule Castle, except much, much larger.
And I'm sorry, but Breath's Hyrule Castle was mostly optional. You could just go straight on up to the top and trigger the final battle. But Tears makes you earn that fight. It throws really tough gloom enemies at you as you have to make use of your abilities to go deeper and deeper down into this gloom-ridden, corrupted underworld. I'll grant you the castle was a highlight of Breath of the Wild, but as an endgame, the Forgotten Foundation is much more challenging and much more climactic than just exploring Hyrule Castle at your leisure. I love how it brought the game full circle too, taking us back to the mysterious area from the game's prologue.
Some great opening points there. One thing I'm looking for is challenge.
Well, as I just said, Hyrule Castle is entirely optional. You could just haul ass straight to the Sanctum. It's a great area for exploration, but again, as a climactic, challenging endgame, it can be ignored completely. Compare that to Tears of the Kingdom, where it's a lot harder to just run through and ignore the enemies in the enclosed spaces of the underground. I mean, not only are the enemies all tainted with gloom, but the environment is too.
All right, well, Hyrule Castle was a fantastic area, absolutely, but yeah, the Forgotten Foundation felt a lot more climactic, a lot more threatening and dark, and yeah, it wasn't largely optional like the castle. You had to fight your way to Ganondorf. It also had that great moment with Ganondorf's army where the sages jump in and kick some ass with you. Fantastic! Speaking of the Demon King, let's move on to final battles. Donald, you go ahead first.
I loved the concept of fighting this evil monster, which had desperately clumped together this physical form, made from malice and guardian parts. It was an abomination, like Ganon's power throwing everything it had at Link. It was a much more unique fight than just fighting Ganondorf, as we've done before, of course. Not to mention the music was great. Then there's Phase 2, Dark Beast Ganon, which, look, I'm not shy about conceding this one. I will defend it and say it's not as bad as people make out. I like the music and getting to use the light arrows. But yeah, I won't deny it was pretty anticlimactic.
Yeah, you're damn right it was. Thanks for arguing for me, man. Oh, what have we came up with for the climax to this huge epic game in the battle against this apocalyptic force of evil? I don't know, just give it some glowing weak spots. Don't even really give it any attacks. Who fucking cares?
They call me Mr. P!
Tears of the Kingdom, on the other hand, fuck, man, that's how you end a game. Ganondorf is as menacing as ever, and he makes for a great battle. I mean, he can flurry rush you, just a great fight. Then to make it even better, it becomes an all-out battle, with Link and the sages taking on Ganondorf and all of his phantoms. Such a hype fucking fight, man. Still nice and challenging as it should be too. Ganondorf in his Demon King form is terrifying and formidable. Then we get the real showstopper, one of the most amazing final Zelda bosses ever, the Demon Dragon. Zelda as the Light Dragon comes along to help you in a visually spectacular fight in the sky. So not only is it a great set piece, but it has emotional weight too. I mean, I know this isn't the soundtrack round, but just fucking listen to the version of Zelda's Lullaby that blasts as the fight starts. Amazing, man. I dare any Zelda fan to hear that and not get chills. As always, it's down to the three Triforce owners, Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf, but it's a very different and large-scale version of it. Zelda isn't just watching from the sidelines like Ocarina or Twilight Princess, far from it. As you ride her head and free fall and glide through the air, that emotional, epic music playing. Fucking hell, man, it's just so fucking good. It may not be the most challenging, but that's what the Ganondorf fight was there for. Where Dark Beast Ganon fell short in terms of spectacle, emotion, and payoff, the Battle of the Dragons in the air above Hyrule was the best possible fucking ending this game could have hoped for. Then there's that final catch. Holy shit, man, that is how you end a fucking Zelda game. So hype.
All right, well, all that's left then are the endings. What do we think?
Well, listen, I know that final catch was a beautiful moment and I loved it. But part of me couldn't help but think that a bittersweet ending of Zelda remaining a dragon would have been more effective. It would have been so emotionally impactful. Breath of the Wild's ending was nice and simple, but it worked. It had this feeling of long-awaited peace for the characters.
Sure, but Tears' ending feels more final. The sheer impact and memorability of the final catch is way better than any bittersweet ending. I'm glad they restored Zelda to her proper form. She more than deserved some fucking peace, man. With the sages swearing their allegiance and offering their services, and Ganondorf truly defeated, it feels like this era of Hyrule has came to a satisfying end, and this kingdom is finally ready for an era of peace, led by Princess Zelda and her loyal knight, Link.
Well said, Joe. That seems a nice note to end on. I'm sorry, Donald, but this point for finale is an easy one for Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, Breath of the Wild may have got the point for all the other story parts, but when it comes to the end, Tears of the Kingdom any day. Props to Hyrule Castle for being a great labyrinth to explore. It makes for a great final fortress, but yeah, providing you choose to explore it or haven't already explored it earlier. Then the final battle, no question. Calamity Ganon was a very different last fight, and its music was brilliant, but Tears of the Kingdom's Ganondorf and Demon Dragon, come on, what an ending. Finally, the ending, of course, just felt more final. I loved seeing the spirits of King Rome and the champions, but Tears' ending basically had the sages take on the role of the champions. It was very touching, very fitting, and just a brilliant ending. Don't worry, Donald, because it's not over just yet. We do have one last part to go. We're going to do a bonus round of sorts, and it's going to be a bit of a point extravaganza. It won't be quite as much of a discussion. I'm going to be just dishing out some of these points. That said, you absolutely will get a chance to jump in and make a quick case for your games on some of these topics. So I hope you both brought your A game.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go, Brandon.
Dear fucking God, don't fail us now, Sleepy Joe. Go take some more rushrooms before we start this thing.
So first order of business, I'm actually going to deduct a point from each game.
What?
And that's for the fucking cruel injustice of not letting us pet the dogs.
Oh.
Any objections?
No, not from me. That's only fair.
Agreed. Absolutely unforgivable, Nintendo. What the fuck?
They're eating the dogs.
All right, fantastic. -1 point from both games. Please, Nintendo, for the love of God, let us pet the fucking dogs next time. Okay, so this next point is for enemy variety. And yeah, come on, man. This is an obvious one for Tears of the Kingdom.
Hell yes, it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Every enemy from Breath of the Wild returns with a whole bunch of new ones like Boss Bo Coblins, Evermeans, and Horriblins.
And follow on from enemies is bosses. Again, this is a pretty clear one for Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, Breath of the Wild has 4 blights than Ganon. Tears has much more going on in terms of bosses. And as we mentioned last time, the final battle is just amazing.
Let's go.
This next point goes to inventory items.
Oh, ho, ho. Come on, this has to be another one for me. One common criticism of Breath of the Wild was how many useless items you're stuck with, but with a mechanic like fusing, there's no such thing as a useless item anymore.
Yeah, dead on there, Joe.
Jesus fucking Christ, man. Are any of these points for me? This is starting to feel more fixed than the 2020 election.
Oh, here we go.
Don't start that again, Donald. And don't worry, there are still plenty more to go. Next up is a point deduction that I like to call where the fuck they go. I'm deducting a point from Tears of the Kingdom now, and that's for the unexplained disappearance of some key stuff from Breath of the Wild.
Oh, come on.
Finally, great point too. I mean, first and foremost, what the fuck happened to the Divine Beast? Such a humongous part of Breath of the Wild's world and its story and its lore. And they've just been Thanos'd out of existence with no explanation, as if they were never there.
Exactly. But there's other stuff too. I mean, I was excited to go back to the Shrine of Resurrection to see what they did with it. I was so disappointed to see that they just fucking erased it and made it look like every other goddamn cave in the game. There's no trace at all of this key location where it all started.
If I can get in one last big example that I mentioned in previous parts, I miss seeing the Guardians littered around fields too. Some places just aren't the same without their broken shells to tell a story.
Oh, come on, man. You don't think in the years since Breath of the Wild, they've had a bit of a cleanup?
Well, obviously I get that much, Sleepy Joe. We're talking about the world and world building. The dead Guardians were much better for that than a bunch of fucking rocks lying around the place.
Let's move on to the next point, which, Donald, you'll be glad to know, is one for Breath of the Wild this time. That's for having the Master Cycle 0.
Fuck yes. I gotta tell you, it looked much cooler than any goofy-ass bike you can build in Tears. It was fast, adaptable, and just all-around fun to use. Basically unlimited battery, too, as long as you had shit to throw in as fuel, which, let's be honest, you always did. I miss that bike, man.
All right, so next, I want to give away a point for the fact that you can build Link an entirely custom new house. Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom takes this one.
Ah, yes. Custom house building is always good.
Absolutely. Now, this next point is one I alluded to earlier, where I'm going to open the floor and give you both a chance to take it, and it's going to be the Great Plateau versus the Great Sky Island.
Well, obviously, Tears, the Great Sky Island, is visually gorgeous. It's really a standout area in Tears' world, whereas the Great Plateau just looks like any other place in Breath of the Wild.
Ha 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 ha. Yeah, the Great Sky Island is a standout area because it's the only fucking sky island like it. Look, where the plateau gave you a mere taste of the vast new world that Breath of the Wild had in store for you and was expertly crafted to help you get to grips with this new open world style of Zelda, the Great Sky Island only gets your hopes up that it's doing the same thing. Instead, it's only setting you up for disappointment when you discover it's by far the biggest and most substantial Sky Island. The plateau is arguably the greatest tutorial area in video game history, but the Great Sky Island is just a reminder of what the skies should have been.
And with that, I think the Great Plateau takes the point for Breath of the Wild.
Bullshit.
Anyway, time for our next point. I'm going to give Tears of the Kingdom something in recognition for its caves.
About time.
They add so much depth to the world of Hyrule, and I know they were a much requested feature after Breath of the Wild. It's so cool being able to just ascend out of them once you're done and pop up on another part of the world. That said, I'm only going to give half a point for them.
Huh? What the hell, man? Why only half?
Honestly, they're just so repetitive.
Yep.
They all look the damn same, and I eventually became very numb of seeing a cave on my way to somewhere. Going in, breaking some rocks in your way, finding and killing the bubble frog, taking the bubble gem, then ascending back out. Very few of them offered something unique to make them stand out. And they eventually just felt like I was just ticking them off of a list. I'd have preferred fewer caves that were just bigger and more substantial and more unique.
See, there you go. I mean, look at Akala Citadel. I was stoked when I got there to see an opening, and I thought back to the whole interior it had in Age of Calamity. Of course, when you go in, it's just another pissy fucking cave.
The only thing that's pissy here is you, Donald. Oh, and those prostitutes you hired that one time.
Fake news. That was long disproven, you senile fucking imbecile.
Okay, do not want to go there. So yeah, anyway, the caves are a mostly positive addition, which is why they got a half point instead of nothing. I just think they could have been implemented better. They feel quantity over quality as is. Next up is another one where you both have a chance to jump in and win me over. Great Fairies, a Zelda staple. But which game did them better?
My game, obviously. In Breath of the Wild, you just forked over rupees and unlocked them, but in Tears of the Kingdom, they're tied to this whole side quest with the stable trotters. You have to do more to earn the fairy services. Donald, I know a filthy rich sleazebag like yourself is probably used to bribery, but Tears just does more with the Great Fairies.
Yeah, well, sometimes less is more, Joe, and the Great Fairies are an example of that. And if anybody's a sleazebag here, it's Hunter Biden's creepy old hair-sniffing dad.
Guys, please, can we just focus on Zelda? Don't make me call Michelle in here to lecture you both.
Oh, holy fuck, all right. Well, look, the stable trotters were a fun idea. But as I said, less is more in this case. I mean, for fuck's sake, who the hell wants to go and hunt for fucking fireflies to be able to upgrade their outfits? How damn tedious is that? Then afterward, you still have to build their janky ass wagon every time without them pussying out. It can be tedious enough hunting down the materials you actually need to upgrade your stuff without having to complete lame side quests for the ability to even do it in the first place.
You know what? I agree. Shout out to the stable trotters, but their fairy side quests just kind of felt like side quests for the sake of side quests. I do wish we could just unlock the fairies as we find them with rupees, like in Breath of the Wild. Breath gets this point. All right, next point goes for respect for the classics. Which game honors the fittingly legendary series it's a part of the most? Again, I'm going to open the floor here. Go for it.
Well, Breath of the Wild directly references Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and Twilight Princess. It's the game that gave all of Hyrule the names of its areas. And well, just looking at the map, you'll see an absolute ton of classic Zelda references. Hell, the entire design philosophy of Breath of the Wild was to return to Zelda 1's completely open approach of starting off this fully explorable world and just going off and finding the way.
Yeah, and all of its classic Link outfits were locked behind fucking amiibos. Oh, excuse me, there was the tunic of the Wild, but you had to beat all 120 shrines to fucking get it. Tears of the Kingdom has its classic outfits in the game already and even adds some new stuff like paraglider materials based on previous games and a mask from the Link's Awakening remake.
Oh, please. Tears feels like it's acting as if none of the other games ever happened. We've already had this discussion in the lore video. It acknowledges Skyward Sword, sometimes yes, like Fi being in the Master Sword and the springs left over from Breath of the Wild. But it also makes out like the Zonai era was the origins of Hyrule. Breath of the Wild referenced the other games directly, but Tears feels like it's trying to be a reboot.
Sorry, Joe, Breath gets this point. Earlier we covered stuff that didn't return in Tears from Breath, and there's one gameplay element that's worth looking at separately, and that's Wolf Link. For whatever reason, he does not return for Tears. The Wolf Link amiibo no longer summons him. So that's something very cool Breath of the Wild has over Tears of the Kingdom. Half a point.
Fuck yes, some justice for my boy Wolf Link. What do the Zelda team have against dogs, for crying out loud? Also, this is another reason Breath of the Wild deserved the point for respect to the classics. Along with the Song of Time being removed from Tears' temple, I might add.
Okay, I see we're currently going through some sympathy points for Breath of the Wild before I fucking destroy you. Let's fucking go. Come on.
I'd hate to validate your cockiness there, Joe, but this next point is for Tears of the Kingdom. Yes, it's for the prologue.
Oh yeah, whatever issues anyone may have with Tears of the Kingdom story, man, you cannot deny how brilliant its mysterious, ominous, creepy prologue was. Ganondorf's mummy waking up was an awesome moment. The way his body jerked and cracked as he rose up was absolutely horrifying.
End of quote. Repeat the line.
It was a great segue from Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay, time for our penultimate point here, which is going for Koroks, a huge part of each game that we haven't even mentioned yet. They're the most abundant collectible in possibly any game ever, and they're how you bolster your inventory. However, Tears of the Kingdom expands on them. The usual puzzles make a return, and there are also new ones, like the ones that involve transporting lost Koroks to their friend. I'd also be remiss not to mention how fun it is torturing those Koroks with Ultra Hand creations. I'm not going to lie, Korok crucifixion is not something I expected to see in a Zelda, but there it is.
Father! Forgive them. For they know not what they do.
Koroks get the point for tears. All right, well folks, here we are. It's time for the final point. With only half a point between these games right now, this is the decider. Holy shit, man. You guys ready?
Let's go.
All right, so let me be clear. I want a final statement from each of you. One final case for why your game is the better game. We'll do it in release order, so Breath of the Wild first. So, Donald, when you're ready.
Well, listen, Breath of the Wild is the game that made Zelda great again. Not since Ocarina of Time has there been a game so revolutionary or so innovative, not just for Zelda, but for gaming as a whole. Tears of the Kingdom could not possibly hope to live up to its predecessor's impact. Simply put, it had some great ideas for expanding on Breath's world, but the execution left me with very mixed feelings. Breath of the Wild was a masterclass in exploration, and it was a stroke of genius to add an underworld and a sky world to add vertical exploration to that pedigree. But they're super underused and half-baked. The Sky Islands get your hopes up with a fantastic starting area. Then the rest of them are just tiny little platforms and shrine puzzles. They just feel like an afterthought. The Depths is a great surprise, but is more empty and tedious than a Joe Biden speech. We have these big new parts of the world that feel very underutilized. This is largely because the game just copies and pastes the formula of Breath of the Wild just with a new coat of paint and some additions. Overall, it's the same world again with a retread of the same lore, completing the same quest with the same structure, going to the same locations, meeting the same characters, completing the same goal of conquering shrines, pulling the Master Sword, then going to Hyrule Castle to face Ganon. It's just uninspired, and the remixed Hyrule, despite the bunch of repetitive caves and new mechanics they added, just feels like it's missing that heart Breath of the Wild had. I don't know, man, when it comes to a main hook for a sequel to such an impactful, massive, magical adventure, I guess traversing mostly the same world except with goofy vehicles just wasn't what I had in mind. Tears of the Kingdom is a great game with some fantastic additions and ideas, but it does not live up to Breath of the Wild.
All right, thank you, Donald. Joe, whenever you're ready.
Look, Tears of the Kingdom may not be the genre-defining, innovative, bold, new direction for Zelda and open-world games that Breath of the Wild was. I'm not going to claim that it is. But what it is a direct expansion and improvement of its ideas and its philosophy. It's the same world we came to know and love, but it has so much more to explore and do. Even if you want to argue that the Sky Islands and Depths are little undercooked, they are still just more to find, more variety for the already massive, diverse world. And they're a change of pace, a break from the more traditional exploration of Hyrule. The story might not have worked for everybody, and it has its flaws, but it has its merits too. It works for what the game needs it to be. And it sees the long overdue return of Ganondorf as our villain, and made for some very unique, memorable moments. I mean, Princess Zelda's role in this tale was stellar. It may copy the same formula with the structure of the main quest, the shrines, the template of the lore and narrative, the reused music. But I see it not as a missed opportunity like you do, Donald. I see it as an alternate version of Breath of the Wild with a lot more going on, a lot of quality of life improvements, and a lot more depth. I get that the building mechanic may not be as engrossing or fun for everybody, but it is hella deep if you are interested in it. The possibilities are insane. So yeah, overall, I would end by saying that Breath of the Wild was a milestone, an absolute titan of a video game. But Tears is that exact titan with more to explore, a more lively world, more freedom, more ideas, expanded ideas, and a perfect companion to the game that came before it.
Okay, wow. Listen, I say this as somebody who was president of the United States for 8 years. This is the toughest decision I've ever had to make. That said, I do have to give out this final point and choose a winner, and that winner is going to be Breath of the Wild.
No.
Yes.
Fuck, come on.
Suck it, Joe.
No.
You crooked old fucking corpse. I knew I'd win. I always do, baby. Let's fucking go. Breath of the
Obama,
W.
Why, man? Why?
Because you got a small old man dick and Tears of the Kingdom fucking sucks it.
Real mature.
Ha ha ha.
Big fucking orange
Secret
poo-face.
Stone, Demon
Fuck you.
King. So
Shut
that
up.
was the
Sniff my
imprisoning
fucking
war.
balls, you jerk off. Fuck you.
What a crock of fucking shit.
No, you.
Let me be clear. Tears of the Kingdom, at its high points, is a great game, but I find myself returning a lot to something you said way back in the beginning, Donald, that it owes that greatness to Breath of the Wild.
Damn right it does.
Tears' goal was to add all these new mechanics and all this extra content to Breath. But what was the reason Breath was so beloved and refreshing in the first place? It's return to basics. Where so many open worlds were about being stuffed with collectibles and side quests and lists and boxes to check, Breath of the Wild was all about the journey, the adventure from one place to another, and the places and characters you discovered along the way.
Music to my ears, Barry. Fucking preach it, bro. Tears of the Kingdom was the Ubisoftification of Breath of the Wild. It totally missed the point of what made Breath of the Wild so wonderful and refreshing.
Yes. To summarize why I chose Breath as the winner here, Tears was a very worrying and very big shift into quantity over quality. The more I think about it, the more cynical I just feel about them reusing the world. It feels less and less like they were ever interested in asking, how can we build upon and continue this world? And more like a, hey, Breath of the Wild was a massive success, how much extra content can we cram into it so we can just repackage it for $70?
Oh, come on, man. That's not fucking fair, and you know it. After all this discussion and debate, we're really back to the old $70 DLC crap? That's really where we're settling?
Never fucking called it that, Joe. But you know what? I don't know what to call it.
Oh, I got plenty of ideas of what to call
It's
you.
in this really weird, uncomfortable middle ground where there's too much new shit to call it a DLC, but not enough new shit to call it a proper sequel.
And that, in a nutshell, is why it lost to Breath. Because as a sequel to it, as the next big mainline entry 6 years later, and probably another 6 before the next. So disappointing. Breath of the Wild, though, it reinvigorated the series.
Made it great again.
Not saying it, Donald. And focused, not on gimmicks, not on novelty building mechanics, not on packing in as many caves and shrines and dull side quests as possible for content's sake and to justify its foundation of reusing a map. No. Breath of the Wild was about the wonder and discovery and atmosphere of exploring this world. In Breath of the Wild, just traveling from one place to another is the adventure. Both games are about freedom, the freedom to explore, to go where you want. But Tears also trivializes that freedom, with all its vehicles and devices, with all its towers that you fast travel to and launch into the air, and of course, in being set in a world we already explored and fell in love with, Tears gives us so much freedom that it loses the joy of freedom. And that, as both a Zelda fan and as an American, I cannot abide. In Tears, Hyrule feels like a big playground for Link's new toys. But in Breath of the Wild, it felt like a world. It was new and exciting and wonderful, and I think Tears, for as fun as it can be, robbed us of that. And that is why Breath of the Wild, the masterpiece it is our winner. So Joe, well played, man, but with all that said, how do you feel about your loss? Any better?
Joe? God damn it.
I mean, I'm just impressed this didn't happen sooner, honestly.
Hello there. If you're one of the, if you're the one person who watches this whole thing to the end, then congratulations on finally finishing it and getting it uploaded. But if you're not the uploader, then
Excuse me, mister, it's August 2025 and I'm back in charge since we first made this series. Shouldn't I lead this Coda thing?
Oh, well, excuse me, Mr. President, go right ahead. I just thought you'd be busy what with all these tariffs and the Epstein list to continue covering up.
Watch your fucking mouth, boy. Anyway, yes, thank you for watching this. It was originally split up into parts, then re-edited into smaller parts. So we just figured, fuck it, let's make it one big thing. It's gonna be the best. Everyone's gonna love it. Like everyone loves me.
Right. Sure. As we all know, your second term has been completely free of controversy.
Yeah, fucking hell sure it has. And hey, so has Nintendo, right? Man, a lot has happened since Tears of the Kingdom, and this series was made. Can you believe it's been 25 years already?
It's been 2 years, Joe, not 25. I see what you mean, though. It's still crazy to think Tears is already 2 years old.
Yeah, for real. Now we have the Switch 2 editions of both Breath and Tears.
Even if they were fucking paid upgrade pack bullshit from greedy Nintendo.
That's business, Barry. It's called making money. Look it up sometime. We've even had the first Zelda game to actually star Zelda. Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah, shame that game was so mid. Zelda deserved far better than a novelty 2D spin-off for her first game.
Are you fucking kidding me? It was fantastic. It was so charming and creative. The Switch 2 upgrade fixing the performance was a fucking godsend too.
Donald, the novelty of the Echoes mechanic wore off like halfway through the game, and you're just left with the most bland, by-the-numbers 2D Zelda ever. I'm kind of done with Hyrule as a setting now, man. Oh, look. Yet another Death Mountain, another Zora's Domain. Hey, it's the Lost Woods again. Don't get me started on the dungeons. Like, yay, more elemental temples. The Fire Temple is just a red rocky lava cave. The Ice Temple is an ice cave. The Water Temple is just a blue cave. The Desert Temple is just an old yellow sandy tomb. They're not even pretending to try anymore.
Look, fair enough. Zelda needs a new setting. Something Tears of the Kingdom would have benefited greatly from, by the way. But Echoes was a fun little adventure with its own twist on the formula. And it...
Wait, guys, I thought we were talking about Zelda. Why are we talking about dolphins now?
What? Oh, for fuck's sake, Echo the Joe, just shut up and get back to whatever cemetery you crawled out of. Echoes of Wisdom was fun. Obama, so fuck you. In other news, there's actually a follow-up to Tears coming soon. Age of Imprisonment. Now that looks garbage.
What? Oh, come on, you're just hating on it because it's Tears of the Kingdom related. Hyrule Warriors is fun.
Well, the first one was, sure, but Age of Calamity was mid and disappointing. Now we're getting another one based on the single worst plot in Zelda history? Who the fuck asked for this? Man, I barely heard the audio of the trailer. All I could hear was the bottom of the barrel being fucking scraped. Can we just move on to the next era of Zelda already?
I don't know, man. Story was possibly Tears' worst aspect. If they can fix it, I'm all for it.
Fix it fucking how? You're telling me you're going to play Age of Imprisonment, then suddenly Tears' plot will be good? Secret stones that aren't secret? Link not telling anybody anything he learns? Boring Rauru and Sonya being prize fucking dumbasses? That'll all be just fucking gold soon?
Well, okay, maybe fix is the wrong word, but if they can maybe salvage Tears for some kind of fun narrative for a big epic Warriors beat-em-up action fest, then more power to them.
Dude, if it's a big epic narrative, then it won't fit Tears of the Kingdom, is all I'm saying. And I call bullshit on the, oh, it's canonical to Tears from the trailer. It'll be another timeline split, or it just won't fucking add up and have a bunch of plot holes.
Bro, it's just a Warriors game. I know people do care about the story here, and so do I. But if it's bad, so what? As long as the game is fun.
Well, Age of Calamity wasn't that great and had a far better cast of characters to work with. So good luck on that one, loser.
All right, so back to what we're actually supposed to be fucking talking about here. Our Breath of the Wild versus Tears of the Kingdom series. Any thoughts?
Yeah, actually. How are you supposed to tell when you ran out of invisible ink?
I meant about the video, Joe.
Well, yeah, here's one. We heard that big speech at the end there about how much better Breath of the Wild was as a world. So how come that first point for world went to Tears of the Kingdom?
Unusually fair point, Donald. I guess that world point, I was thinking more of the physical world of Hyrule itself, you know, as a setting with places to explore. Now, of course, how that setting and exploring it is handled was a different matter. But just for that first point, the new additions, bigger world, and more visual variety were just enough for the point.
And also that speech was added 2 years later for this full, complete version. So that's a lot of time to think about shit, you know?
Well, I wasn't going to mention that, Joe, but thank you.
Well, yeah. But overall, yeah, I'm happy with how it all went.
Well, of course you are. You fucking won.
Damn right, loser. There are some points I wish I clapped back on. Like the sage abilities. I didn't fight back hard enough on that one. They're a fucking pain in the ass to use.
Yeah, the abilities round is probably the one I'm least happy with, honestly. I feel like I made it too easy for Tears of the Kingdom's abilities. In hindsight, Breath's abilities are baked into navigating the world, where Tears' abilities help you just bypass it. It is what it is. Breath still won. Story is one place I have nothing I'd do differently. Breath of the Wild dominates. Tears of the Kingdom's story is still just awful. Secret Stones? Get the fuck out of here, what a terrible plot device.
And oh my God, the cutscenes. The terrible repetitive sage cutscenes only got a brief mention from me. I should have tore into them way harder. The story was too shit to cover in one round.
Okay, man. The competition is long done now. Well, hey, here's one of my thoughts.
All right, go for it.
If you have twins, which one wasn't planned?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, one last thing I'd say looking back on these two games is this. Tears of the Kingdom is a fun game to go back to when focusing on a podcast or a video or an audiobook. Mopping up lingering shrines or light roots or Koroks makes for a fun, pretty background game, especially the Switch 2 versions. But when I want to return to this Hyrule proper, when I want an adventure, and to be fully immersed in a wonderful, magical world, and to enjoy a story with some lovable characters, it's Breath of the Wild. I'll replay, hands down.
Anyway, on that note, I gotta go. I'm a busy president, as we all know.
Why? South Park make another episode that hurt your ego?
Oh, fuck off, Barry.
You got another fucking official White House response to a cartoon to order?
I'm getting cartoons made of me because I'm still relevant. What do you even do these days?
Well, more importantly, what do I do these days? No, I'm seriously asking. I don't know what I do anymore.
You just have a nap there, old-timer. I'm sure Kamala will be down to poke you with a stick and throw you some food soon enough.
All right, well, thank you again to the two people who watched this far. Appreciate you. With YouTube doing the whole AI age verification thing and banning ad blockers and all the other shit going on, who knows if we'll see you again. But we can certainly hope so. Peace out.